Morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
Working out the Zoom view here. Give us a sec.
There we go.
There we go.
Recording, yep. Welcome everyone to the Choosing What Course to Study.
Can't hear you.
Today. Should be fun. Can anyone else hear us?
I can hear you now.
I can hear you. Hi, everyone.
Hi. We're just going to mute you all for now until we have questions coming in, if that's okay.
All right. So welcome everyone. Thanks for jumping on the call today. Ryan Hassan and Melissa Hyman here, founders of the Centre for Healing. And we thought we would jump on today and do this call for probably a couple of reasons. We're getting towards that time of the year, nearing the end of November, that a lot of people are thinking what they might want to be studying next year, what they might want to be stepping into in 2024. Crazy to think it's 2024, by the way. I'm going to say this every year, but it's flown by. So we thought we'd jump on and talk about some of the trainings that we have on offer, our main three in particular, our practitioner trainings, for those who are interested. So we're going to go in depth with those. The second reason we're jumping on is that we have a Black Friday sale starting today. Another one, my inbox has been clogged with Black Friday sales since the start of the month. I was getting some from November the 1st. Black Friday has really become a month-long thing now, but we are running one starting from today for the next week. So from today until next Monday, and we're offering 50% off all of our practitioner trainings. So as we're going to go through here, we're going to talk about each of those three trainings that we run, a little bit of their history and a little bit of the basic information about them. We are also going to answer questions along the way. We have a frequently asked questions list, questions that over the years we've gotten a number of times, so we'll kind of go through those. But as we are talking, please feel free to jump onto the chat box and just ask questions. And we're just going to get through them all as we go along, any comments or anything like that. Okay, sounds like everyone here is okay?
Someone's having some static.
Yeah, just let us know in the chat if anyone else is having trouble hearing of us, or if it's just
Yeah.
It tends to be when it comes to technology a little bit.
The other reason why we wanted to come on, well, this is the first time I think me and you jumped on together, which is
a long
so
time.
cool. Yeah, so we started the Centre for Healing, which was the Melbourne Centre of Healing back in 2016 together, where we had a outpatient addiction and mental health clinic, and we were running our programs in Melbourne. And so, yeah, since then we moved to online, and then we now train practitioners all around the world with our internationally accredited trainings. And yeah, one of the reasons why I wanted to jump on in this format, and usually we're separate in some capacity because we do train our students in different courses, but we wanted to do it in this format because this is how we generally run our support with our students. So every week, well, once a month with us, each of us, or with our peer support, our senior practitioners, you get support like this in Zoom calls. You get supervision, support, Q&A for the lifetime. So you sign up to the course once, or whatever course you decide to go with, and you literally get lifetime support. And we thought, why not give you guys a little taste of that, as this is the format that we do it in. Even though it's they are pre-recorded online courses, we are always around. We're there for you every week, every day. We're answering questions that you have under each lesson. We're active in the community. We're there to support you guys. So it's not like you just sign up to a course and no one's there. We are very actively there to support you, to make sure that you feel like you've got someone there to help you implement the tools, to help you when you start to get clients. So we have people that jump on these calls when they just sign up, and then we have people that have been practicing one of the methodologies for 3-4 years, and they still jump on, and they're supporting the new people that come into the community. So community connection is so important to us, and that's why we're doing it in this way today.
Yeah, the online world's fantastic. It's great that we can connect with people all over the globe. And we have over 1,500 people practitioner training, about over, I think, coming up on 50,000 students in all of our courses worldwide, and it's so good. But I know for me, like I tend to miss that classroom connection, being able to bounce off other people, and that's why we offer support calls with the trainers. We also have senior practitioners running calls like this calls most weeks and that kind of stuff.
Sorry, just stop. Yeah, our audio is not good. So I'm just going to figure out. Maybe we get headphones and share it. Would that be better?
You can try.
Yeah, I'll get them. Sorry, everyone. We're having some audio issues.
You can tell this is the first time.
So switch the audio to the external microphone.
This one's right.
Headphones.
That's right.
Top one. One up. Sorry. Yeah. Down the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How's that? How are we going?
that
Let us
better?
know in the chat.
Is that
Is
better?
the sound working? We can hear you there. Okay. Great.
Okay, that's better. Great.
Brilliant.
Yay!
Okay. Great. So, like I said, like the online world's fantastic, but I know for me, like I joined online courses and trainings in the past, and kind of I felt like as soon as I joined, there was no one there for me, and I was kind of in it on my own. And you know, accountability is obviously a very, very big thing. So obviously having this connection and doing the support calls, and also we have, you know, private Facebook groups as well for the trainings. And I know, like, I'm obviously one of the trainers for embodied processing, and that thing's just, I can't keep up with it. Luckily we have, you know, Matt and our senior practitioners to go with that, but everyone jumping in and sharing their wins, losses, and everything in between. So before we take up too much more time on that, let's jump into the actual methods before we get to the questions and everything.
Yep, cool. So we'll start with EP, which is your course. So I guess people want to know, okay, just a quick statement, what is embodied processing, if you can encapsulate that?
Yeah, absolutely. So embodied processing is a modality for working with trauma, traumatic imprints, and stored stress in the body, which, like, hands up, we all have that to a varying degree. It's a somatic modality. So a lot of people, you know, that's becoming a bit of a buzz term, like the somatic work and all that. But somatic just means, soma means body. Somatic means that we have a very strong focus in the therapy of what's happening in the body as we're going through it. The reason we call it embodied processing is because we're trying to get people back into their body, which for many people, it's a very, very uncomfortable place to be. There's a reason why we live most of the time up in the mind here, interpreting life, cognizing life, thinking, planning for the future, working out what we want and don't want, and then trying to manipulate the world to make that meet our needs. Whereas we are trying to pull people back into the direct experience of what it feels like to be them as a human being. That is a different process for everyone, but it is one absolutely worth taking. We are essentially building some sort of sense of safety in the body. We call it building a resource. That's the foundations of embodied processing. And once we have that stable resource for a client, we are then teaching them to welcome in what we call orphan parts of the psyche, which is another word for, you know, traumatized parts or stressed parts, or basically something that we have been through in life that we weren't able to properly process, and it's still, whether consciously or unconsciously, dictates our behavior in life. And so we are welcoming that back in, we're understanding it, we're getting to know its qualities, and then we are starting to process and work through whenever that first occurred. And so gradually over time, I always talk about it, it's like a set of scales. You know, clients come in and have a very, very low capacity. They don't feel safe in their body and in a lot of situations, and they have high levels of stress stored within the body. And over time, we're helping them balance those scales out so that, you know, eventually they don't need us as a practitioner. You know, when I first got into this space, it never made too much sense to me that people were just seeing, you know, whoever it was, psychologist, whatever, therapist every week for years and years and years. And I'm like, we should be really arming people with the tools to be able to self-manage to a large degree. And so that's what EP is. It's a process that we teach. It's a step-by-step one where we're working with these imprints in the body. And
so in the course, you're teaching people those step-by-step processes? Yep. So in the course, we have 9 modules in EP. The first 8 modules are theory. So we're talking about what is trauma, the different types of trauma, how it shows up in our identity and our view of the world. We have a whole module on addictions, a whole module on the subconscious mind, a module on trauma and spirituality, all of that kind of stuff. And then we bring it together in module 9 where we teach the process step by step. So we have a flow chart of how a session runs, and that 9th module is literally going into every single part of that flow chart. We also have demo sessions and all that kind of thing for people to watch. And then when it comes to certification, so there's the theory element and the practical element. So once one of our students has worked through all the theory and they've got a really good grasp of that, it's time for them to start practicing. And I bring this up on nearly every single support call. I'm shouting out to all the people that are, taking that step, and because that's the scariest step. We have many students who they go through all of the theory. There's like 40 hours of it in EP. And then they get to the end where they're about to reach out and start doing sessions, and they go, oh, maybe I'll just go through the theory again and go through it again for a 3rd time. But we keep the practice sessions, unless someone is in a professional capacity seeing clients already, all of the practice sessions are done within the container of the student community. So people are just reaching out going, hey, finish module 9, I'm freaking out, I'm ready to start practicing. And invariably a bunch of other people like me too. And then they can get together and start catching up on Zoom and fumbling through the process until they get comfortable with it.
Can I just say, and from my outside perspective, because you're the trainer of embodied processing, even though these courses are under the Center for Healing umbrella, it is like all about safety for the practitioner to be able to hold a safe space for a client, and then for the client to have that safety and capacity in their body to allow for the deep traumas and the deep parts of us to safely be able to come up and safely be able to be processed, would you say?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about a traumatized part or a traumatic imprint, if it had a voice, that voice would say, not safe, not safe, not safe. Like I'm going into like a social setting, and that social anxiety part, not safe, not safe. I start getting into a certain level of seriousness in a relationship, and that part goes not safe, not safe. So us as the practitioner, when we can hold that really safe space and then work through these techniques and everything and help the client feel more safe, it's, I suppose, the grounding where a lot of processing happens. I think Stephen Porges said safety is healing. As soon as our body feels safe enough, it will heal on its own. The analogy we use is like when we get a cut on our arm, we have to keep it clean so it doesn't get infected, but some intelligence greater than us heals that wound. And it's the same with these wounds of the psyche and the inner world.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people are experiencing symptoms and experiencing anxiety and all of the outcomes of not feeling safe, which is basically being in survival mode. And I think that when they start to get into this work, some modalities kind of like and even just talk therapy, it just doesn't go deep enough. The body is in that survival mode, and it doesn't allow for that deep healing like embodied processing allows. So it's a really powerful process. We get so much amazing feedback. I don't know if you have to look at our reviews on Trustpilot, but people are blown away by embodied processing. From people that are just starting to come into the industry to people that are already practitioners, it's a very gentle, safe way to start processing the unprocessed. And the term embodied, could you go a little bit deeper on that? Because I know for me, a part of our courses are people receiving sessions, actually embodying the teachings themselves. Can you kind of talk about that word and why that word is there, the embodied processing?
Yeah, I think that word just means to be, far more present and in the moment, and not worried about what's happened in the past or what might be happening in the future. And we ping out of that all the time, depending on what happens in our life. But when it comes to the practitioner side of thing, I mean, embodying this knowledge is so important, because, and I'm very, very guilty of this in the past. It's like we like to consume content, and there's enough content you can consume every second of every day for the rest of your life, and you won't get anywhere near through it. But we read a book and go, wow, I love the ideas in that book. Then we go to the next book, same thing. And we don't take the time to actually sit with and embody the knowledge that we are taking in. It doesn't become wisdom. It just becomes something that we know of. And so embodied means we can actually come back down to the body and just be more present for ourselves, more present for the people we love. If we want to be a practitioner in this space, then we're more present for the person that's in front of us who needs help, because we talk about co-regulation a lot in embodied processing, and that's the ability for two human beings to regulate together. If someone is coming in for therapy, it is a 99.9% chance they'll be dysregulated in some form. If they can sit in the presence of a regulated human being, it can help them feel
more safe and more okay in their body, which means they can go to the places they need to go in order to move through what's showing up in their life.
And yeah, that key thing is, like I was saying, that creating a safe space for our clients, this course just takes that to a whole new level.
It's like the foundation of the Centre for Healing, essentially. You know, our centre was, you know, we would have people come in with drug addictions, alcoholism, depression, anxiety, bipolar, straight out of psych wards, all of that kind of thing. And so many of them say they'd get to our front door where the old buzzer was, and they'd run away like 5 times. Like, I don't want to go up. But then as soon as they come up, they came into a place that wasn't clinical. There was other human beings who'd been through shit themselves who went and gave them a hug, and you could see their whole system start to relax. So like, hey, this might be the place that, you know, I can get better finally.
And that's like, and once they signed up to one of our programs, they were like, I couldn't wait to come, because as soon as I walk in the doors, I'm like, and so that's the kind of intention and the energy behind all of the courses that we have. So I think it'll be a good time to open up any Q&A. So if you're with us on Zoom, we'll answer you guys first, and I'll get you to just take if anyone wants to put their hand up. I'm trying to see if I can see you guys.
Or just pop it in the chat box, one of the two.
Yeah. So you can come on video, or you can type a message in the chat box. Either way, just find the chat box. Here, we did have a question actually early on, so maybe you can answer this one, Ryan. Can these courses be adapted to clients who have, I can't pronounce that, or interoception issues, and may not find it easy to identify emotions, or where something feels in their body? Yeah,
so basically interoception means the ability to look inside and understand what's happening inside. Intro meaning moving inwards as opposed to the outside world. And yeah, it's a great question. One of the things with EP is we can move really slowly at the pace of the client. And for some clients come in and they're ready to, you know, jump into some big stuff and work through it, understand why they have low self-worth and all that kind of thing. Whereas other people, I don't want to stereotype, you know, a lot of men that come in who haven't been kind of into this work, they have trouble understanding what's happening, you know, inside in their thoughts and their emotions. And so one of the things, when we have this knowledge and embody it and understand it, we can guide the client through that process. And that just early on may be helping them identify, like, okay, this is when I'm feeling angry right now. Okay, well, how do we know we feel angry? Well, I can feel it in this section of the body, and we can start to work through. One of the things with EP, before we work through anything, we need to understand its qualities, because we need to create a relationship with it. Okay, whenever I'm angry or I'm sad, I don't have a relationship with it, because I see it just purely myself and that experience that I'm having are meshed and they're together. So one thing with EP is we separate them so we can create a relationship and work with it. You know, one of the big ones, anxiety, like so many human beings are struggling with anxiety. When we can see that anxiety is just a part of us that perceives some sort of threat in the environment, and we can create some separation and understand its qualities, we can try and pick up on what it perceives as a threat, and then over time help it start to calm down and work through that. So with anything, so we had another good question come through.
Yeah.
So with the client, we just work at their pace. So I've had many clients who we spent a few sessions just understanding what anger feels like for them, what sadness feels like, what safety feels like, what neutrality feels like, and then we can start jumping into things. And because everybody's at a different, you know, place. But once people can then go, okay, I'm in an argument, you know, outside of session with my partner, and then I can realize, oh, I'm getting angry, and this is what is creating the anger. So yeah, we work with the client wherever they're at. We all have interoception. We all have a different, I think, starting point coming into this game as a human, but it's a skill that we can work on. You know, we can become more introspective and understanding what's happened inside. Another question that's come through: how's EP different from parts therapy? It's a lot more somatic. So we do a lot of parts work in EP, but what we're doing, we're always checking in with the body. We're understanding, you know, what's happening in here. If a client starts to jump up and start to go into too much story, we'll gently just start to bring them back. But we do parts work in EP. We always see that, you know, if there's a part, you know, if I feel like I have low self-worth, you know, if I have an addiction or whatever it is, that's just a part of us that we need to understand. Once again, creating a relationship with that. So we have elements of parts therapy, but there's many other elements to EP as well.
The next question is the course offered at a specific time, or is it live or self-paced? Yeah. So this is in regards to all of our courses. You can sign up anytime the courses are available. We don't have like the doors open, the doors close. We're just like, when someone feels like they're ready to add this to their practice or they want to get started, you can basically find our website, the Centre for Healing, and you can enroll whenever you're ready. Is it live or self-paced? The course itself, the theory, the materials is all self-paced, which a lot of people find works very well because life can happen. But the support call, so just like, for example, how we're running today's call, there are weekly live support. So there's peer support calls, there's study groups, and there's also Q&A with us, the trainers, directly as well. And you can ask questions under each lesson. So even though it is a self-paced pre-recorded course, we are there, you have support almost every day. So it doesn't feel like you just sign up to a course and then you got to manage it all on your own. It's got those live elements within it.
Yeah, and so that we do that because, you know, we have all sorts of people with different life circumstances coming into the trainings. You know, we can have, you know, someone who's got a lot of time, they just, you know, stepped away from a job and they're single with no kids and can put a lot of time into it. We have like single mothers of 5 who like work a part-time job, who chip away at it at their own pace, and we kind of want to make it available to everyone. And as Melissa mentioned, it's like some people will be going through getting, you know, maybe halfway through or even up to the practical element, and then life happens, some big life change happens and they leave it, and then, you know, a few months, even 6 months or a year later, they can come back and pick up where they left off and gain certification. And yeah, that's really cool when that happens, actually.
Yeah, just seeing if there's anything coming through. Great, so I'll just jump into the next course, and again, if you have questions you can start chucking them in the chat box and we will answer those. What's the layout of the course? Is it interactive material or mostly lecture? Yeah, so the course is so where is it?
The video lectures.
Yeah, they're all video lectures, and then there's assessments as well. So if I share this, I'm going to show you guys what it looks like when you enroll. So
go to like trauma part 2.
Yep.
So there's obviously the different modules here that I spoke about. Melissa specifically embodied processing here. And so these are video lectures. There's also an audio download for all of them, so you can listen along. This particular video is probably better to watch because there's diagrams and things, but for a lot of them, you can download the audio for every single lesson, listen to it while you're walking the dog or you're at the gym or that kind of thing. We have obviously massive amounts of comments down below where we're interacting there as well. There's for EP, you know, we have a lot of external resources as well. So optional research based on whatever that lesson is outside of that, like book recommendations and that kind of thing, as you see there.
Yeah, because we also have, like, you can watch the course on your computer, on your browser, but there's also an app. So some people like to watch it on the go. Some people prefer to sit down and, you know, have a few hours set each week to go through the course. Is it also transcribed? You guys have nearly transcribed the whole course of people that like to read as well?
Yeah, we're just finishing off the last module of that. Because we've got obviously the video component, the audio, and once we have that, the workbook all written down and everything, that'll have that other element.
Yeah. Okay, great. So now I'm going to talk about root cause therapy. Oh, sorry, was there another question here? I'm doing, oh yeah, so someone's just written they're doing the trauma-informed certification, which that's how a lot of you have found us, which is amazing. Yes, you can do any course from there. Some people do decide to do embodied processing just because the trauma-informed certificate is by Ryan and Matt, and you do like the way that he teaches. But then some of you do come across the course that I teach, the courses that I teach, which I'm about to talk about, which it's different. The way that I teach is different. What I'm teaching is different. So just keep that in mind. And that's why we do offer the free pre-trainings at each course, because we want to make sure that, you know, you're not coming into that certificate and then you're doing mine and you're like, this is quite different actually, even though it is all around trauma healing. The way that we approach it is quite different. So we do encourage you guys to, when you do click in on the website and you see it, there is an option to do the free webinar, free pre-training, just to get a taste of our teaching, because that is so important that you feel safe and not triggered, you know, when you're actually receiving the information, because we learn better when our prefrontal cortex is all happy and not shut down. So I'm going to go into root cause therapy now. So root cause therapy was the main methodology that we used when we opened our center back in 2016. And it is all essentially, like the name suggests, about getting to the root cause. And so when we're looking at someone's life and we're looking at them holistically, looking at all the parts that are going on within their lives and also the triggers and the main symptoms that they're experiencing now, then what we're essentially doing is asking the intelligence of their body and their mind, well, what is the root cause of this symptom that they no longer want to experience? And symptoms can play out in different ways, such as overwhelming emotions like anxiety and depression. It could be coping mechanisms and behaviors that are not helpful, thoughts that are not helpful. And we really do structure our lives around our emotions and our behaviors and our responses to traumas that have often happened growing up. So as a root cause therapist, as a practitioner, we do look at the client holistically, and then we're asking the mind and body, what is the root cause? And then once we discover that root cause, we're helping them process the trapped emotions or the negative emotions that are basically holding that information in the mind and in the body, and helping them to finally process that. So we are doing a little bit of breath work and somatic work to help them to release the emotions so they can gain a new perspective of the event and or the trauma or the stressful event that's occurred. And the way that we check on a client is that we're really checking, okay, what are the limiting beliefs that are playing out here? What are the triggers that are playing out here? And we do monitor those every week. And so I think in regards to root cause therapy, you could probably touch on as well, like what you saw when we had clients that came through with mental health and addictions.
I mean, the Centre for Healing was built on the back of root cause therapy. You know, Melissa essentially saved my life from drug addiction with it. And then I'm like, we have to get this out to the world and help people who are in unnecessary suffering. And, you know, one of the things that, well, in terms of client results, like at the centre, we just have, one of the reasons we went online to teach this stuff is because clients who do one of our programs would go, can you teach us this?
Like, this is amazing.
Yeah. And so that's one of the reasons why we did that. And, you know, it might be worth touching on the testing sheet and the script, because that's obviously one thing that the people who come into that course absolutely love, the fact that they have this, the testing sheet, Melissa could probably show you here. It's literally what is used in every session. And so it's great to be able to just know, hey, this is what we're working on first, this is what we're going through. And that's like an information gathering sheet, essentially. And then once enough of the information's been gathered, we jump into the actual RCT, and there's a full script for that. So especially when learning in early days, students seem to really love that.
Yeah, I created it that way because when I was studying, you know, back in 2013 and 14, I was like, okay, I have a great bunch of tools and some knowledge and theory, but how do I actually run a session? And it's really interesting because I am in therapy groups and mainstream therapy, like psychologists and counselors, and every modality and thought process, it has a place. But so many of them would finish uni or wherever they were studying, they're like, how do I run a session? And so with my own background of kind of in the world that I was in before I went into therapy, I was like, right, I'm going to structure a template so I can run a session in a set way. That's how I like to do it, or I can get data and feedback, because this kind of work can be really intangible and I wanted to make it tangible. So we're really getting feedback from the clients of like out of 10s, how they're feeling. You know, are there from week to week, what triggers are coming up there? How are the symptoms shifting? How are the coping mechanisms shifting? How are the belief systems shifting for this person about themselves and the world? And so it's a really set way that someone can come in and study this and go, I know exactly how to run a session. I know how to prioritize exactly what to do in each session. And I know how to go from session to session in a really methodical way. So it's for those people that really like structure, really like to give their clients feedback and data, and really feel confident of like what they're going to work on in each session. So it doesn't feel like, well, for me, it's all about the client experience. So I want them to feel like they're heard, like we've remembered the information, even though it's essentially most of it is written down in a really easy way. Like I was showing the testing sheet, we can just glance at that. And also that they're not coming in and talking about the same thing every single week, right? They are actually essentially like moving from one thing to another as they process big things that have happened in their life. They're able to actually, okay, what are we going to work on next? Is that resolved? Yes. Okay, this is what we're going to work on next. And that is such a breath of fresh air for clients and practitioners to have that tool.
One of the good things was when, we'd have these testing sheets, obviously, for each session, and, the client might do an 8-week program with us and whatnot. And in the last session, we would bring out the testing sheet from week 1. We'd be like, all right, let's go through week 1. And they'd be like, holy crap, look how far I've come in those 8 weeks. So it's a really good, like Melissa said, it's a really good feedback thing. So we can see actual subjective data from the actual client and see their progress, and week to week, the progress isn't like this, never is.
The healing journey is not like that. Yeah.
But over a period of time, it's a wonderful reflection point to be able to show a client, hey, look, this is where you were a couple of months ago. And they're like, man, because when we change, we normalize our situation very, very quickly, and we tend to forget the place that we're in because we're worried about whatever the new challenges or the new thing to work on and that kind of thing. So it's great to have those testing sheets.
Yeah, it's very much when you've healed something, you forget about it because it's healed, because there's not a strong emotion attached to it anymore. So it is nice as a practitioner to, be like, oh, this is what we've healed, and give them the opportunity to say, this is what I want to work on next. So root cause therapy is about making us a guide to someone's healing. We are not the expert. We don't need to know a million hours of theory. It's really about opening it up for the client to start healing themselves in a really empowered way, and for them to gain their own wisdom once they, heal their inner children, or the generational trauma, or when they're in the womb, or when they're in high school, whatever it is that's in the way of their goal, how they do want to feel in their life going forward. And same as in body processing, I am there. I am answering questions that are under each lesson. It doesn't matter what stage you are or how many years you've been with us. It's just, I think at the moment it's only 1,600, and you literally will get lifetime access to. I do ongoing live updates. You've got that support. We've got the live calls every week, and so the value is incredible. And yes, so many people end up signing up with us because they were clients of practitioners. It's absolutely blown them away, and that's how a lot of students find us, which is beautiful. It's really great feedback, and the results are incredible. So yeah, I'm absolutely so blessed that we have so many people from all around the world that are now certified as well. So we would love you guys to join if this interests you. I am just going to get you to answer that question, if that's okay.
Yeah, just someone to send a message around, does anyone have any experience using these methodologies with clients who identify as autistic or ADHD, and are seeking coaches for nervous system regulation? And it's as many neurodivergent people are also seeking coaching for trauma. Yeah, we completely agree. Absolutely. So, myself and Melissa, we have experience seeing clients on and off with these. There's obviously ADHD and autism in those two categories. There's many, many different versions of those categories as well. More often than not, we find people will get benefit, from these methodologies. There's some people who don't, just because for whatever reason it doesn't, resonate or process correctly. It doesn't make sense. I found a lot of ADHD clients, we can work through stuff really quick.
Yeah.
Really quick. Like we might do just one thing in a session, but you get someone with ADHD and we can get through 3 or 4 different things because they're just like bang, 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 let's go. We do have some people in the community as well who were already specific, more so ADHD, coaches of people with ADHD, and they've now come in to use EP or RCT as another tool, to help them in that process. So like I said, in our experience, yes, they can get great benefit, not all though. And obviously that's why, doing a single session or having a chat with a client and working out if they're going to be a best fit is the way to go.
Yeah, for sure. And the way that we approach, and it might be similar with EP, is we do respect labels and diagnosis. We don't give diagnoses or anything like that as practitioners, but we do see it as several symptoms. So if you look at the DSM-5, there are multiple symptoms that then they put in the category. So what we do as practitioners, we're working with the symptoms one by one, and whether someone continues to have that label or not, that's not up to us to say, but we're just here to help people reduce those symptoms, whatever they may be. So part of our sessions are just really okay, what are the things that are going on, and how can we help you move through those methodically. especially with root cause therapy, it's quite methodical if you're that kind of person. So even the training itself is very practical, step by step. It is a bit shorter than in body processing. There is less theory, just because it is just all about, this is the framework. Whatever you've studied before in your intuition, you can bring that into the framework of these sessions. And so on top of that, there's business training as well, and there's creating signature programs, which again include, if you've studied something before, how do I implement and put in a root cause therapy session into a program with a client, if that's something that you're interested in. But doing one-off sessions is perfectly fine as well. So we give you everything that we had to run the healing center. So, you know, if you want to run a healing center and then have staff, we've got everything that you need for that, all the documents, all the templates. We've got the training for your staff. Like, it's basically like a franchise kind of like white label thing that you can just jump in and everything set up. So it's not just practitioner training, it's also how do you actually get it out there and help people as a part of it to make it really easy for you. And so that's like all included, all those bonuses are included. So you sign up, but there's literally, you could go through the course for a year or two in terms of all the bonuses that are included as well. So it's up to you. But yeah, that core training, very practical, step by step. And that's just how I work and how I like to do it. And I guess root cause therapy attracts people that just like it. Okay, this is what I do next. This is what I do next. So there's that one. Did anyone, I'll just see if there's any questions about root causes. There's nothing coming through. So I just want to say all the courses that were mentioned, there is a bundle. So I mean, to be honest, a lot of people that sign up root cause therapy end up doing embodied processing. People that do embodied processing end up signing for root cause therapy and some of our other courses as well, just in your own time. Like, but we do find that people tend to do that. But some people like to buy it in a bundle where you save a lot more money. And that is in the link that we shared earlier. And I'm not sure if I can share it again. Oh yeah, there we go. So you guys will see the bundle. There are payment plans and there is no extra fee. We don't charge any extra fees. So there's no extra fees to stay on for the lifetime support and access to the material. There's no extra fees when we go to assess for your certification.
Someone just asked if you're on a payment plan, do you have to wait until that's paid off to get certification? No, you don't.
We're very trusting.
Yeah.
We attract people that, you know, will honor that, and we're quite flexible with that. So no, you don't have to complete the payments.
And some people are ask, you know, what's the main differences or whatnot between RCT and EP. If you jump on our website into the blog section, there's a search bar. There's 2 blogs. The difference between embodied processing and root cause therapy, and combining EP and RCT. The combining one's about a 45-minute class that I did, but the first sort of 10 or so minutes is sort of going into the nuts and bolts of how they're similar and how they're different as well. So I recommend just jumping in.
And if you want that link and you can't be bothered looking for it, just write down what you want. Just say, I want to know the difference between root cause therapy, and I'll jump in the comments later and I'll post those blogs for you so you can have a look at what the differences are or how to combine them. So speaking of that, the other course that we offer is trauma-informed manifestation coaching. So this for me was actually, originally I was really into manifesting, but I was all that love and light, positive thinking, you know, in my early 20s. And but then my whole life crumbled around me because I had no interoception. I had no awareness of my shadows, my negative emotions. I wasn't listening to that amazing feedback that our emotions give us. And I would lose everything, and my relationships and my house and everything like that. And I kept sabotaging my whole life, as you do. But then I got into this trauma work and I'm like, this is the bee's knees. This is everything. We just need trauma healing. We just need to do this inner work. But then I was like, why am I not on manifesting what I want? I'm feeling better and I have less issues, but things aren't magically appearing in my life. And so then I kind of got back into the manifesting, but I brought the 2 worlds together. I'm like, trauma-informed manifesting. Manifesting, yes, visioning what you want, having the vision board, going for goals, feeling safe to actually have goals and want to bring certain things into your life or relationships, but realizing that our body is involved, our nervous system is involved. Certain things can trigger us. Even allowing good things into our life can be very uncomfortable for our nervous system if we've had stresses in the past. So say, for example, you want to grow your healing or your coaching practice, but you've been burnt out in the past, right? Your body is, when you say, I want to have more clients and I want to make more money, your body is just going to have red flags like, no, and it's trying to protect you from burning out again. So you won't even allow yourself to think of different ways that you could grow your practice without working more, much more, because your body will just give you that feedback of this is not safe, and you'll get the thoughts that coincide with that and give you all the excuses as to why you can't move forward. So it can be very frustrating for people in the healing space that say want to bring in more money or to feel safe enough to expand or bring great things into their life. And then the reason why I made it a certification is because, well, our clients need this. Our clients need to know how to set goals that come not from our ego, but come from the greatest and good for all, you know, from our soul. And then also, like, how do we somatically move through the blocks on the way to achieving those goals? So EP, and so I'd say root cause therapy is like really about digging into as far back as we need to go. And then EP is about how can we feel safe in the moment. And I'm totally diluting EP down just to that. Sorry.
It's the new tagline.
Yeah. And then trauma-informed manifestation coaching is about how do I actually create the future, and it's great to do trauma healing for years and years and years, but how do I actually go about having goals, working towards the goals, or helping my clients with those goals? So that is in the practitioner bundle. So you could get all three and just have the most amazing toolkit. And again, there is blogs and everything on how do we combine root cause therapy and trauma-informed manifestation coaching. A lot of our students will, you know, do 8-12 weeks with a client working through all their limiting beliefs, like I'm not good enough, I am alone, I'm not worthy, working through a lot of those. And then they do the resourcing and then the EP, and then in the future they're like, okay, now we're going to do the manifestation coaching, and now we're going to work on your goals. Like, to like really tap into what that is and allow yourself to have them, and then somatically work through the blocks to allow yourself to achieve those goals. Yeah. Can the manifestation, yes, it's a separate course. You can just do that one on its own, Robbie. Good question. And the trauma-informed manifesting is on our website, Robbie.
You can just head to that Black Friday link and then click it'll have the 3 courses there, and they just take you to the actual like landing pages with all the information and everything. So that's the best place to have a look. And obviously there'll be buttons on all of those pages for the pre-training. Melissa mentioned that, but it's one of the most frequent questions we get. So there's, you know, hour plus long pre-trainings of those 3 practitioner trainings. So if you're going to umming and ahhing, just do all 3 and then get a feel for it.
Yeah.
And go, okay, I wasn't sure where to start, but after doing them all, I think RCT is the place to start, or whatever it is.
Yep. And you know, if you do sign up for all 3, but you can't start till January, that's fine. A lot of people are just taking advantage that we're having such a big percentage off for Black Friday. So there's no like, hey, you haven't started your course yet, like from us or anything. You can take your own time, but a lot of people are excited and they jump in and they can't wait. So that's kind of what they get into. So are there any other FAQs?
I'll go through a few more. Like the 3 courses that we mentioned are recognized by the IICT, the International Institute of Complementary Therapies. So those modalities are registered. So people in most countries around the world, once certified, can gain insurance as a practitioner. Really, really cool that we've been able to partner up with them over the last many years now. Anybody that's interested in experiencing a session can jump on our practitioner directory at thecenterforhealing.com. You can find it just through the website if you navigate it, or you can just go to thecenterforhealing.com/practitioner-directory. But if you go to thecenterforhealing.com, you'll find it. So you can go on there and you can see who's certified in EP, RCT, or manifesting, and have a session, you know, see how it goes.
That's how some people like to choose. They like to experience a session first, and that's totally fine. That's great.
People ask, do we need any previous qualifications for these courses? No, not at all. You know, we get people who've just been on their own, you know, healing journey and now are doing it maybe just for their own development, and will maybe see clients. Other people are wanting to step into the space. Then we have people who are psychologists, counselors, healers, coaches, all of the above coming into it, yoga teachers, massage, have many different people from different backgrounds. And what Melissa mentioned earlier, it's worth reiterating, is that, you know, we obviously have these modalities that we're teaching in a somewhat kind of strict format, but we always encourage people to, you know, from then on, you know, bring your own skills, your intuition, you know, all the stuff that you've learned in the past. You know, we're all individual, you know, we're not just, if I'm with a client, I'm not just giving them embodied processing, you know, I'm giving them Ryan, which is embodied processing is a bit RCT. It's also all of my combined experiences of my life, and same with Melissa, same with everybody else. So it's very important that we bring our own skills, and we all have natural strengths as well that we should be leaning into. I'll just have a bit of a look here. We've kind of answered a lot of the rest,
I think so, yeah. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm just making sure I'm monitoring the
RCT and EP are also registered with the CPD group, so that's continued professional development. So people who have, you know, counselling background or different, you know, things like that, psychologists, they have to get a certain amount of those points. Sometimes people call them CEUs. There's different acronyms for it, but it's continued education. So both of those courses do have points, like 80 and 96 respectively. We do offer payment plans. We've kind of touched on that already.
And for those of you in Australia and you get NDIS funding as a support, or you receive NDIS, you can email us or message us, and we can help with that. If we can invoice, you know, to your plan manager for the funding if you'd like to fund it through NDIS. Yeah,
and it's just another question that I get sometimes as well with EP. People won't be thinking about on the fence, but they're like in another country, let's say the UK, who have kind of an inverse time zone to us here in Australia, and they're like, you know, can I join? Will I miss out on the calls? And, you know, we try and cater to everyone now. We have, you know, a decent, you know, community in Australia and New Zealand, but now we have a really big and growing one in the UK, and now the USA and Canada are coming on board. So with the live calls and everything, you know, we're starting to really alternate up the times. Like in EP, one of our senior practitioners, Ben, is from the UK, so he runs UK friendly stuff over there.
Yeah, we do have in root cause therapy, we do have a UK group, and we do have someone running the UK time zone calls. So for each, we're trying to do it for each time zone. We do have those weekly study groups. Does RCT include somatic work and also cover trauma? Yeah, so thanks for your question, Fernanda. So root cause therapy and embodied processing and our courses are there to, the main objective is to heal trauma. That's always been the basis of what we do and where we see the most transformation for people. The somatic work, yes, is within the healing part of the session. So the first half of the session is going through the testing sheet, and then the second half of the session is doing revealing, doing the regression, and doing the somatic work to release the emotions that have not been processed within that trauma.
Yeah, trauma is kind of our jam. That's what we do.
Yeah, if you want anything trauma, come to us.
You know, our lens of trauma is quite open and broad as well. You know, so if you want to use that's why sometimes I use traumatic imprints, or, you know, or orphan parts or that kind of thing. But the way we see is trauma is part of the human condition. You know, it's something that, an experience that we go through where we don't fully come out of a stress response, and part of us holds onto that experience and kind of becomes hypervigilant and on the lookout for something similar happening in future. And so that is, you know, what we teach. All of our courses, you know, mine and Matt, our addiction course, we're talking about trauma. You know, our other courses, we're talking about trauma, because it's so important, because we see it's the biggest missing piece of the puzzle when it comes to healthcare, not just mental health care, but healthcare in general, is understanding and be able to properly treat trauma. And at our center, you know, we were advertised as an addiction and mental health outpatient clinic. We were getting people in and we were doing trauma work with them. That was the backbone of what we were doing, because that's what's under the hood. You know, root cause therapy, the name is at root cause, and at the root cause of most dysfunction is some sort of traumatic imprint.
And so there are labels like big traumas and little traumas, but it is really the perspective of that person that was experiencing it at the time, and whether there was safety there or not. at the time, whether they were able to process that and have someone there to help them, and particularly, you know, experience that in childhood. So for example, if you got up in front of the class and you felt ashamed or ridiculed, and so when you go to do speaking that will support your goals when you're older, our body will have a nervous system, like a PTSD response, essentially disallowing us or trying to talk us out of doing something that will be really helpful for us and for our business and for others. And so it could be as deep, you know, as a sexual trauma. And so we treat traumas with like whatever that person experienced, we respect whatever level. You know, there's no perception of this is a big trauma, this is a little trauma. It's just what are the symptoms they're experiencing, and let's work through and help them actually finally complete and resolve the unresolved. Someone's just asked, how many sessions does a client need with root cause therapy? It depends what the goal is. So if they just want to, you know, heal their fear of speaking, say for example, that might just be one session, because you will get to the root cause in one session. As the client is processing that, they will get all the other times that they experience or anything linked to that or because of that trauma. So one session could heal that essentially. But if someone wants to go through and heal a lot of their limiting beliefs that are affecting their life or addictions and things like that, we say 4 sessions, 8 sessions, 12 sessions. It's just depending on what you're working with. So again, with the feedback, you can see how they're going. You can see how many they need. But we had set programs. So for mental health, we had 8 weeks, and for addiction, we had 12 weeks, where there's plenty of time to work through the decades and decades of things that we have bottled up and what we've experienced our whole life.
And everyone's different. Yeah, you can never, because that's one thing that we try and tell our practitioners, because the potential clients of theirs will probably ask them a similar question, and we kind of want to steer away from, well, you'll need 3 or 4 and that's it, because for some people that may be the case, for a lot of people it's not. So we need to just meet the client where they're at and work through it. And like if we're working through this stuff and create a new life for ourselves and new levels of freedom, it doesn't matter if it takes 2 weeks or 20 weeks. It's like it's worth the journey.
Someone just asked, can we do group work with RCT? So RCT, you can do the educational work, so getting people to understand their body and emotional intelligence and limiting beliefs, so our perceptions about ourselves and the world and how that affects our behaviors and our decisions. So you can do that as group work, but it's so personal and deep and intimate when you come to actually healing trauma that is really one-on-one work that you want to do in group. But there are elements of embodied processing where you can do group work, and there are elements in the trauma-informed manifestation coaching where you can do the group work for sure.
Yeah, in EP we're in the process of putting that together. We're working with a couple of our more experienced practitioners to create an actual structured group program. So that'll be coming next year.
Because that's in quite high demand, I think.
It is, we get that question a lot.
Yeah,
so whatever questions we get a lot, we will explore and make it happen.
My thing is, like, if students are asking 3 times, then I start creating. Someone just messaged, they're going through the Going Deep course, which is one of the entry level, the educational courses, the first course that Ryan and Matt made, and they're finding it very helpful. That's great.
That's
Thanks,
literally
Robbie.
Myself and Matt have done so many courses and content now, and that was the first one many years ago.
Glad you're enjoying it. It's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, love it. All right, we're just how much can we charge for therapy? Look, this is up to the practitioner. I guess a general, and it depends what currency you're in, maybe $150 to $350, I guess, is the average for a session. You just got to remember that they're doing basically 10 years worth of therapy in one session sometimes. So it's more of a transformative experience that they're going to get, rather than just getting advice or counseling. It's deeply shifting and life changing. So we do, say charge a little bit more, but one of the pieces of advice that I give my practitioners is what feels safe in your body and your nervous system to charge. Because if you are to charge more than your nervous system feels safe to, you are not going to put your services out there, because your body's like, this is unsafe. So it's like, if it feels safe in your body to charge $100 at the start, do that, because you're more likely to, when someone makes an inquiry, you're more likely to send them the link, you're more likely to advertise, if that makes sense. So everything that we do is through a trauma-informed lens, and understanding that us as practitioners and even asking for money can be a little bit stressful because of our money trauma and etc., things like that. So that's like a very vague answer, but I don't like to say this is how much you should charge.
Yeah, it's very individual, and early on it might be fine to say, well, I'm just certified. I'm still, because there's the learning process is ongoing. It's like I might just charge $50 for a bit, then I'll up it to 100. But if it gets to a point where you've been doing it for a while and getting results for your clients, and $100 per session is not helping you meet your financial needs, but 150 would, yet the idea of putting it up to 150 freaks you out, then that's probably something that needs to be worked through with a practitioner.
And that's a perfect segue, because someone just asked, do we get the therapy? Do we receive the therapy ourselves in the course? So in root cause therapy, yes, a part of certification is that you need to receive session. And just like the word embodied and embodied processing, you need to embody and know what it feels like from a practitioner point of view to receive the therapy, because that's a huge part of the training, because then you're on the other side and you are able to have that compassion and understanding of what it's like to receive a session, and just a deeper understanding of the process. And then also, obviously, a part of that is you get to heal your traumas and work through your limiting beliefs as well, because we're all human. Just because you're a practitioner doesn't mean you have stuff. And we all have stuff. You don't need to be like healed to start helping people. You could do healing work for the rest of your life and still you'll find more things to work on. So we come from the perspective of you're experiencing it, yes, to work on yourself, but more so to embody the processes as well.
Yeah, and EP is the same. Receiving sessions is part of certification. It's yeah, I'm fortunate enough that I see a lot of the results of those sessions, and it's really, really awesome. I will, however, say a caveat that it's not a replacement for one-on-one therapy. So we don't want people coming in just because like I'll do this practitioner training just to heal myself when I'm in a bad spot. You know, it's just a byproduct or a really good bonus of going through it to get certification.
And in regards to the trauma-informed manifestation coaching, that is just assessments, written assessments to get certified. But I run every single month group hot seat coaching. So I do group healing, group coaching every single month. So again, you just sign up once and you get lifetime access for as long as I'm alive. And so that is like, normally people pay like $10,000, $20,000 for that kind of coaching. And so that's like a huge no-brainer kind of bonus there. And Fernandez just asked, are there any further costs after doing the course? No, it's just a one-off payment, or if you do the payment plan, it's like once you've paid that, you're with us for life. You get support for life. There's no extra expenses for
with us for life.
As yeah, like how long am I going to live? And then, you know, there's no extra payment for membership and continue to get support or access to the materials. You literally get lifetime access, supervision, support. Yeah.
And just probably another thing that's come up on that as well is there is a there's level 2 for all three of those. So we've obviously, as they've been around for years now, and we've learned in our own process and everything, there's a level 2 where we've taken the original modalities and then put a whole bunch of bolt-on, you know, techniques and concepts and all that. But the level 2s are optional and can be, you know, you don't need them for certification, because sometimes it'll pop up like, hey, do you want to buy embodied processing level 2? And sometimes people will think, oh God, why do I need that for certification? No. You don't. No. You don't. Okay, that's just if you want to go that step further and learn some new concepts and you're loving the content and that, you can do that. But yeah, they're optional.
Yeah, and not like most companies where like, oh, then you start moving up the ladder of all of a sudden it's like jumped up to double the price of level 1. Our level 2s are actually much less to purchase. Cheaper. So we kind of go the other way, where it's not like a pyramid scheme or anything. It's literally just like, you feel like level 1, you've got that. Then you want to add some more things to mix up
upside
sessions.
Down pyramid.
Yeah. It gets cheaper and cheaper the more you stay with us. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. I think we're all good. I'll just double check there's no questions in the live. I think no, that's all good.
Great. All right. Well, thank you everybody that jumped on the call live today. Any questions you have, just let us know. If you're on one of the lives, put it in the comments down below. We'll make sure to check it later. If you're on the Zoom, if you have any questions, you can just reach out. Message our Facebook business page, email support@thecenterforhealing.com.au. We're always around. We're always here to answer any questions that you have. And if this has resonated in any way and you're going to study with us next year, then we can't wait to see you. Like we said at the start, the Black Friday sale is on now. It's running for the next week. And check out the pre-trainings if you haven't already. That's probably it.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you everyone for coming. And for those of you that came live on Zoom as well, we really appreciate it. And we look forward to connecting with some of you in the community soon.